The little girl froze when the store manager grabbed her backpack. "Open it," he snapped. People stopped shopping. Phones came out. A woman whispered, "I knew she took it." The 12-year-old girl looked around with terrified eyes. "I didn't steal anything," she said, barely loud enough to hear. But nobody listened. Not until a tiny blinking light on the ceiling revealed a truth that would change every life in that store. Every afternoon after school, Maya Johnson walked 3 blocks through downtown Savannah, Georgia, to help her grandmother. At 12 years old, she was already carrying responsibilities most adults complained about. Her mother had passed away from cancer 3 years earlier. Her father had never been part of her life. So it was just Maya and her grandmother, Evelyn, who worked long hours sewing clothes from home while fighting arthritis that made every stitch painful. Money was always tight. Still, Evelyn had one rule. No matter how hard life gets, she would say, "We never borrow honesty from tomorrow." Maya never forgot those words. She earned extra money carrying groceries for elderly neighbors, tutoring younger kids in math, and cleaning the local church after Sunday service. Every dollar mattered. Not because she wanted toys. Because Grandma's medicine wasn't free. That Friday afternoon, the heat wrapped around the city like a heavy blanket. Maya stopped at Harper's Market to buy milk, bread, and the generic pain medicine her grandmother preferred because it cost $3 less. She counted every bill twice before walking inside. The store buzzed with the usual crowd. Office workers grabbing snacks. Parents rushing with restless children. Tourists buying bottled water. Everything seemed normal. Until a loud voice shattered the room. "My bracelet!" An elegant woman wearing an expensive white suit lifted her wrist. "My diamond bracelet is gone." The entire store became silent. "It's worth $15,000, she cried. Employees immediately locked the front doors. Nobody could leave. Store manager Rick Coleman arrived within seconds. He had managed Harper's Market for nearly 20 years. People respected him. But he also believed first impressions were usually right. He looked across the customers. Businessmen. Families. Retirees. Then his eyes stopped on Maya. A young black girl. Old backpack. Faded sneakers. Standing alone. His decision came almost instantly. "You." Maya looked confused. "Me? Come here." She slowly walked forward. "I need to check your backpack." "I didn't take anything." "If you have nothing to hide, then open it." People began staring. Someone started recording. A teenage boy laughed. "I knew it." Another customer whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. "They always look innocent." Maya felt every eye burning into her. Her hands started shaking. "My grandmother is waiting for me." Rick folded his arms. "Open it." With trembling fingers, Maya unzipped her backpack. Inside were schoolbooks. Homework. A peanut butter sandwich wrapped in foil. Groceries she had already paid for. And a small envelope. Rick grabbed it. "What is this?" It's my savings." He opened it. $347. Cash. Someone gasped. "See?" Another voice answered. "That's probably stolen too." Maya couldn't believe what she was hearing. "I've been saving for months." Nobody cared. The woman with the missing bracelet pointed directly at Maya. "She's hiding it somewhere else." "I didn't touch your bracelet." "You expect us to believe that?" Tears filled Maya's eyes. Not because they searched her bag. Because they had already decided who she was before they knew her name. Across the store, an elderly man quietly watched everything. He wore worn blue jeans, an old baseball cap, and thick glasses. Most customers barely noticed him. He had been shopping alone. Listening. Observing. When Rick ordered another employee to call the police, the old man finally stepped forward. "Before you do that," Rick interrupted. "Sir, please stay out of this. I think you're making a mistake. We have procedures." The old man looked toward the ceiling. "Then follow all of them." Rick frowned. "What do you mean?" "The cameras." Rick answered confidently. "They'll only confirm what happened." The old man nodded. "I hope so." Officer Daniel Brooks arrived within minutes. Unlike everyone else, he knelt beside Maya before asking a single question. "What's your name?" "Maya." "Are you okay?" She quietly shook her head. "No." He looked around at the crowd still recording with their phones. "Did anyone actually see her take the bracelet?" Silence. The woman finally answered. "No." "But..." Officer Brooks interrupted gently. "But isn't evidence." He turned toward Rick. "Let's check the cameras before accusing a child." Rick agreed. He still believed the footage would support his decision. Inside the security office, the monitor displayed multiple camera angles. Rick folded his arms confidently. The wealthy woman waited impatiently. Officer Brooks stood quietly. The old man remained near the back. The video began. Everyone watched. There was Maya entering the store. She grabbed a basket. Picked up milk. Compared prices on medicine. Read nutrition labels. Nothing unusual. Rick fast-forwarded. Then something unexpected appeared. Near the produce section, the woman with the bracelet answered her phone. While talking, she placed her bracelet into the side pocket of her oversized designer handbag. Then another customer accidentally bumped into her shopping cart. She adjusted the cart. Picked up her purse. Walked away. Completely forgetting where she had placed the bracelet. The room became silent. Rick blinked twice. No. Officer Brooks paused the video. Zoom in. The image enlarged. Clear as day. The bracelet disappeared into her own purse. Not Maya's backpack. Not another customer's pocket. Her own bag. The woman covered her mouth. Oh my God. She immediately searched her purse. Seconds later, she pulled out the diamond bracelet. Exactly where the camera showed. Nobody spoke. Not even Rick. The silence hurt more than the accusations. Because now everyone knew. They hadn't followed evidence. They had followed assumptions. Officer Brooks looked at Maya. You were telling the truth. She didn't smile. She simply nodded. Because the truth had come too late. The humiliation had already happened. Rick slowly walked toward Maya. I'm sorry. She looked into his eyes. Were you sorry before the video? He couldn't answer. The question hit harder than any insult. The wealthy woman approached next. I made a terrible mistake. Maya quietly replied. You didn't make one mistake. You believed I was a thief because it was easier than believing you forgot. The woman lowered her head. She had no defense. Outside the office, dozens of customers still waited. Many had watched the confrontation. Few knew the truth. Officer Brooks stepped into the center of the store. The missing bracelet has been found. People sighed with relief. Then he added. It was never stolen. The whispers started immediately. Rick swallowed hard. He walked to the front. I publicly accused an innocent child. His voice echoed through the store. I was wrong. The same phones that recorded Maya now recorded his apology. But Maya wasn't interested in becoming a viral video. She simply wanted to go home. As she picked up her backpack, the elderly man stopped beside her. "You handled yourself with remarkable courage." She smiled politely. "Thank you. What was all that money for?" She hesitated. "My grandmother needs surgery on her hands." "You've been saving?" "For almost a year." The old man nodded thoughtfully. "You've done well." He handed her a business card. "If you ever need help, call me." She looked down. The card simply read, Samuel Bennett. Bennett Foundation. President. She had never heard of it. That evening, Maya told her grandmother everything. Evelyn listened without interrupting. When Maya finally finished, tears rolled down the older woman's face. "I'm sorry. I didn't do anything wrong, Grandma." "I know. I just wish people looked at hearts before appearances." Evelyn gently held Maya's hand. "One day they will." Neither of them knew how soon that day would come. The next morning, a black SUV stopped outside their small house. Two people stepped out. One was Samuel Bennett. The other carried several folders. Samuel smiled warmly. "May we come in?" Inside the modest living room, he quietly looked around. Old furniture. Patched curtains. A sewing machine that had clearly worked for decades. Everything reflected dignity instead of wealth. "I wasn't at Harper's Market by accident," Samuel said. "I visit stores anonymously every month." Maya looked confused. "Why?" "I'm searching for honesty." He explained that the Bennett Foundation funded scholarships for young people with extraordinary character. Grades mattered. Talent mattered. But integrity mattered most. "I've seen children cheat for prizes. I've seen adults lie over pocket change. But yesterday..." He smiled at Maya. "You protected your honesty even while everyone doubted you." Samuel placed a folder on the table. Inside was a scholarship that would cover Maya's education through college. Another document approved full payment for Evelyn's hand surgery and physical therapy. A third established a monthly living stipend until Evelyn recovered. Maya stared silently. This can't be real." Samuel chuckled. "It is. But why us?" "Because character deserves opportunity." Evelyn began crying. For the first time in years. Not from pain. From hope. Meanwhile, Harper's Market faced consequences of its own. The security footage spread online. Not because Maya posted it. One of the employees did. Millions watched. People weren't angry that a bracelet had gone missing. They were angry that suspicion had chosen a target before evidence. Corporate headquarters launched an investigation. Rick wasn't fired immediately. Instead, he was required to complete extensive bias training, community service, and rebuild trust with the neighborhood he had failed. He accepted every requirement. Not because he had to. Because he finally understood the damage a single assumption could cause. Several months later, Harper's Market hosted a community event. This time, Maya was invited as the guest of honor. Children filled the parking lot. Local teachers came. Police officers. Church leaders. Families from every neighborhood. Rick stepped onto the small stage. "I spent years believing experience made me a good judge of people." He looked toward Maya. "I learned that experience means nothing if it replaces fairness." He handed Maya the microphone. The crowd became silent. She looked across hundreds of faces. Some remembered the day she had been accused. Others only knew the story. "I used to think the worst thing that could happen was being blamed for something you didn't do." She paused. "But I was wrong. The worst thing is when people stop looking for the truth because they think they've already found it." The crowd remained completely still. "I forgive everyone who judged me." She smiled softly. "Not because they were right. but because carrying anger would only let that moment steal one more thing from me. People began wiping tears from their eyes. Even Rick. Even the woman who had lost the bracelet. Even Officer Brooks. As the sun set behind the old oak trees of Savannah, Samuel Bennett stood quietly beside Evelyn. "You raised an extraordinary young woman." Evelyn smiled proudly. "No. I just reminded her every day that honesty doesn't become valuable when people believe you. It becomes valuable when they don't." Years later, Maya would become a civil rights attorney. Every time she walked into a courtroom, she remembered the frightened little girl standing in a grocery store while strangers decided who she was before knowing the truth. She spent her life making sure fewer people experienced that kind of injustice. Because sometimes justice begins with a security camera. But real change begins when people choose to see each other with open eyes instead of closed minds. And the truth has a remarkable way of waiting, until someone is finally willing to look for it.